Now you listen to me. I don't want any plastics. I don't want any ground floors. And I don't want to get married to anyone. You understand that? I want to do what I want to do. And you
Nice. Dude, that made it so much easier to
line it up.
to edit.
Really?
Yeah. It was fantastic. Oh. All right, dude. So tell us why you hate the. I forgot the phrase you decided for
the little C, the local C.
The local C. Okay.
Or the little C. Little C, big C.
Yeah.
What a way to go into it. I just really, I feel like I could be so much more empowered as a believer, like as an individual believer.
Oh, so you're going right now?
That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
Yeah. I agree.
I think that we're not. Oh, frick.
Oh, yeah. Get that light on.
Like, I just think that the current state of this model we have takes away people's
potential.
Potential or accountability or empowerment as a part, like them being a part of the big C, like the body.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. And I'm not your average Joe Schmo, we're not, like we have put in time and effort to not, like, to be better. I don't know, like, to be more educated believers.
Yeah.
Because we care.
Not only that, we've put a lot of time into these local C's.
Yes.
Like thousands of hours.
Yes, because we genuinely care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just feels like what we've been talking about for the last few months is like there's this creeping feeling that we've been having where we enjoy the community. We know the community is necessary. We enjoy hearing a good word.
Right.
And that's necessary. We enjoy the worship, and that's necessary. And our generation's numbers are way down going to the local C. And I think it's because not only are they seeing all of these hypocrites come out with these scandals, they just don't want to be a part of something as corporatized as it's become.
Yeah. And it really, like, when you say corporatized, it really is. That's what they are. They really are businesses. At the end of the day, the local C is a business. And when you put it, like, in that frame of mind, like, kind of like I said before, like, no wonder we have a bunch of believers that are just consumers.
Mm-hmm. That's how I feel. Going into, like, any local C, I feel like I'm shopping.
Right.
Even when I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
And it sucks because there's a lot of great pastors that genuinely care to reach people, and they're frustrated because 70% of their time has to be taken up with the responsibilities of a CEO because of just the nature of, that it is a small business. It has to be run by a CEO. And like, they didn't sign on for that. They signed on to love people.
Yeah.
And it sucks that they have to think about those types of things. They have to worry about being sued. They have to worry about cash flow and expenses and all the things that come with the building. And it's not that they're doing it on purpose most of the time. It's just simply like the model is just imperfect in that sense. And like, there's never going to be a perfect model, but I think we can do better.
Yeah.
Or offer something different, right? Like, that's what we were saying. There seems to be no in between for people.
Yeah. I think, kind of like what we talked about before, I don't necessarily think that the local C is a bad thing.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
we
there's
don't think
nothing
so.
wrong with it.
No.
I truly don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's when we act like that's all there is. Like, when we make the whole faith built around that.
What do you mean?
I think that's where we make our mistake. I think it's like you said, it takes away our potential. We feel like it makes you feel. What did you say at the very beginning?
Disempowered.
Disempowered. Yeah. You feel less empowered, like, as a believer, because you're relying on this local C, this corporate
entity
business. Or whatever, to basically like take care of your faith for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like someone hearing that, like what I just said, I think a lot of people would be upset. Because I think I don't know. I think that people, would say like, my church doesn't take care of my faith. Like, I'm responsible for my own faith. And yeah, everyone is responsible for their own faith, for sure. But I just think we use, I said it, we use the local C as like as a crutch way too often. In a lot of ways. For ministry, for serving, for worship, prayer. I think a lot of times there's this pressure that it all has to be done through the local C all the time. And I think that's what makes believers feel less empowered.
Like, what frustrates me is why, when we think of the word, like what we're saying as the local C, when we think of that word, we think of a building. We don't really think of it as the body.
Right.
Or like the big C. Or when we think of
brand.
Right.
Or
when we think of worship, we think of someone on stage singing instead of living your life as a holy sacrifice pleasing to God.
Right.
Or what's another one? Serving. When we think of serving, we think of doing it in the local C building or through the local C.
Stacking chairs. Greeting people.
Yeah. And again, we're not saying that's...
Nothing's wrong with that.
Nothing's wrong with that. And there's a huge part of that where you can do it at your job. You can do that in your home. And you don't have to feel guilty if you don't have enough time to do it at your local C.
Right.
I think that's what we're trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Worship is not just singing in the morning, right, at your local C. It's everything that you do that's unto God.
Yeah.
But when we think of that, typically most people think of those just very specific things because that's most of what we do.
I think you're right. That is the problem. Because when you do, for almost, I would bet that for every, or most believers, people just like go to church casually. If you were to say church, worship, and service, right? Like serving. Like those three things that you just said, like the number one thing they would think of is their church building. That's first on their mind. And then worship, is someone singing or, it's worship time. And then you're right, like serving at the church. It's like the bigger picture is being totally just like kind of swept over.
What is the bigger picture?
The bigger picture is, I think, the bigger picture, I think, is the entire Christian life. Right?
I think the bigger problem is that people don't want to go to their local Z. Like, non-believers do not want to go. Most of them do not want to go.
Yeah, you're right.
They're not going.
I mean,
the biggest drop
I'm not gonna lie, most of the time I don't want to go.
The biggest drop off was after COVID.
Yeah.
And people just didn't go back. And it's frustrating for me. I want you to finish your thought. It's frustrating for me when I feel like I'm a salesman asking someone if they want to come with me on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
That's what's frustrating for me.
Okay, but that's what we're taught though. That's what's frustrating to me. Because that's all people know how to do. That's what every churchgoer is taught, is to be like this salesman. Like, all right, here's your pitch. You can win people and bring them to church. Instead of like actually spending time with people, discipling people, building relationships, and truly loving people. And that actually takes sacrifice.
That's tough.
Yeah.
To meet people where they're at, especially when they don't care really.
Hi, Sam.
What's up?
I wasn't going to interrupt.
I let you interrupt. Sorry, you were saying?
I was gonna say it's tough. It's tough to take time out of your day to meet people where they're at, especially when they don't speak the same language as you.
Yeah.
Or they don't like. They may tell you some things that they're doing, and it may be easy to be like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
But like that's the point. Like that the point is to show people that believers are not all self-righteous hypocrites.
Yeah. Right. And I've found that I think ministry is so much easier when you're not trying to be a salesman. There's no pressure to like win them over or anything. You literally, all you have to do is just love them. Just genuinely care about who they are. And get to know a person. Like, that's easy. Anybody can do that.
Yeah.
Just ask questions.
Yeah, be curious.
Exactly.
Be curious. Don't try to dismantle their worldview the first or second time you're meeting with them.
Right.
Just because you're insecure with your faith.
Right.
Like, be willing to listen to, because once they get past the part where every other believer has been like, that's wrong,
Yeah.
Once they get past that part with you and you're like, okay, interesting. And they're like, oh, he's not like, crucify him.
Right.
He's actually listening to me, or she's actually listening to me. You,
Right.
a lot of times, will, over time, earn their trust, and you'll get down to a deeper nugget of what they're really dealing with. But you would
Yeah.
never do that if you just tried to be like, well, no, that's not right because da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
And I'm not saying don't stand up for your faith when it's appropriate. I just
Yeah, of
think we
course.
take up arms too fast.
Yeah, I agree. Hold on, I'm gonna move this a little closer because I'm freezing.
Yeah, it's like probably like 30 degrees right now. 35 maybe.
I'm gonna put this right in front of me, dude. I'm a little cold.
Me too. We're doing this
Yeah.
for you guys.
For
We
you
couldn't get one
guys.
in earlier this week, so we had to do it at 10 o'clock on a Friday night
Out in the Texas country.
out in the Texas country.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
How soon? Oh, sorry. I guess. How early do you think that like you started feeling like that way about the local sea?
I think I first started to notice little things here and there, probably at Sagu, but like I didn't really. It was like just like little things here and there. I'd be like, oh, that's a pattern that's repeating, or just I would just notice those things, and then I'd say probably once we got, and I had grown up in one local scene my whole life, like just one for 20,
Yeah, me too, pretty much.
like 18, 19 years.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really know that. I'd gone to other churches a little bit here and there, but when I got out of high school, I really like went around and just went to different churches, met different people, and I started to see the same theme come up, where it's like, oh, okay, cool, like there's a system for doing this. I didn't notice it as good or bad. I just noticed it.
Uh-huh.
And then it was probably about 2 years ago when I really started to slowly feel like, is there something wrong with me? Because like I'm having time in the Word in the morning. I'm doing what I'm praying. Like I'm praying throughout the, like I'm doing my best to be a good believer, like as what I've been taught. And I feel like I have a pretty open relationship with God,
Yeah.
the best I can. And like my point is, I feel like I was doing everything I was supposed to do. Yet when I was on at a local C, it could be any, like several that I've gone to. I just have this feeling of like powerlessness or disempowerment, where it's like I want, like if the pastor's preaching a good word and I could tell he really cares, I'm like, dang, I logically really care about this. But there's something that is just holding me back, or I just don't feel like I'm a part of this. Like I feel like this is his thing. And I do my best to be a good like team player, right? Like I want to be a good servant. But I just started to notice, I'm like, why? There's something wrong with me. Like if there is, great. Like I'll fix it. I'll do whatever I need to do to fix it. I'll serve more. I'll do something different. I don't know. And then I started talking to other people and realized that that was not an uncommon feeling. And it wasn't like, I'm not saying this as like a bad thing. I'm just simply saying I noticed it. I'm just neutral. I'm like, wow, I'm just noticing this feeling and I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we started to really, later on, we started to really try to figure out and put words to that.
Yeah. Which is still difficult too.
Really difficult.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. For me, when it was, I don't know. I guess at SAGU a little bit, yeah. Especially after all those chapels, dude. Those will do it to you. And I remember there was one semester where, I can't remember if it was junior year. It might have been junior year, where I mean, I don't think I went to church at all. Like, or, yeah, I don't think I went at all. And I don't know why, but I think one, just because of all the chapels, I was like, dude, there's no point in me going. Like, I'm in service 5 days a week. So,
Yeah.
already I was just kind of burnt out. But I think as I began to like read the word more and understand the church more, and just like started seeing how some things just didn't really quite line up with,
Or hit the same way.
yeah, just like with what I felt like the Bible teaches. Not to say that, I don't want to say that the local C's are, like going against the Bible directly or anything.
No.
But I don't know, I just think that they miss the mark on a lot of things. And I felt that a lot in college. And then I think ever since I got out, it's just gotten like those feelings just increased more and more. And I've noticed more and more things where I'm just like, dude, like something's got to change, or because I don't know. I don't really see, people's lives being changed. But I don't really want to say that either. Because who am I to judge? Whether or not something like the Lord touches people in different ways, and probably a lot of ways that I don't see. Right, so I don't want to make that assumption either. I don't know. It's just,
I think
it is hard to describe it.
a way to simplify it for me is you have the problem. The problem is millennials and Gen Z are the lowest attending generations ever to local C's. That is a problem for believers.
It is a problem.
And then you have the older generation who's sticking their finger at them, saying the reason they're not doing that is because they're bad, they're no good, they're not hardworking, they're lazy, etc. And it's frustrating for me as a believer trying to reach my peers when I don't feel like they even have a chance, if they even do come, to want to stay.
Yeah.
And it's like, no offense to all the local C's out there, because it's tough, but a lot of them have a really sucky young adults program. And it's the last thing on the list. It's the last thing they try to do, because they say, well, kids and youth are most important because that is usually attached to a family, which brings in better attendance and helps the church grow.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. That's just good business. It's
Yeah.
frustrating to me that the model is like that. And then the church will, the local C will point fingers back and will say like, well, you know, they don't even want to come. And it's like, and maybe some will try and some will not. I think that logically, when we look at the evidence is very clear that what we're doing right now as the body, the big C, is not working for our generation. It is tanking. It is
Yeah.
brutally failing, like up in flames, smoldering, not working at all. In fact, it's pushing them away even more. From everyone that I've talked to who've tried to go to church, who are struggling with their faith, who believe in God, but they don't believe in like our faith,
Yeah.
they all say, well, I've tried it, but everyone there sucks.
Yeah.
Or they judged
Yeah.
me. Or I didn't want to give my money to a local C that I knew was just going to put it back towards a bigger, better building. And it's like, it hurts to hear that because it's hard to refute.
Yeah. That's true.
It's hard to refute, Zach. And
how could you refute it?
it's the truth.
Yeah.
And it hurts my heart that they're so right. And I think the reason we've pushed ourselves to do this whole thing that we're doing is to, I mean, at least try to come up with a different way of doing this in a way that still aligns with the word, still is true to God, still true to our faith. But it is trying to reach our generation and the millennials in a way that will actually is meaningful to them. Like we're trying to go to them instead of asking them to come to us.
Yeah.
And I've noticed and Taylor's noticed too, like we're trying this out in our personal, like we're building this philosophy and we're trying this out in our personal lives and it's working. Like
Yeah.
people that she and I have been inviting to come with us on Sundays for so long. And every time they'll either ghost us or say no, like, or not for me. We have just been saying, let's just go hang out with them. Let's just go listen to them. Let's just go spend quality time with them and just love on them. And that has like blown the lid off of our ability to reach them because it shows that we really care.
Yeah.
They really feel like we're not just trying to sell them to come on a Sunday morning, but that we're genuinely just checking up on them. And yeah, they may like spout out their thing, or maybe they'll tell us about what they did the weekend before and how crazy it got or whatever. And we don't do what a like self-righteous Christian would do. We just don't judge them to their face, make them
Right.
feel bad. We just sit there and listen, and I don't know what happens, man, but it's like, it just feels like we get out of the way of God and we just let God do his thing.
Right.
And we just let him love on them.
And it's easy.
And it's so
It's
easy,
easy,
dude. And I feel
right?
like so good afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, maybe I didn't get a chance to share my faith or whatever then, but like, I know that 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 conversations down the line, they're going to eventually be like, you know what? You've been listening to me a lot lately. Like, tell me about you. What do you think? What
Yeah.
do you believe? What is going on with you? Because you've put so much equity in their bank account
Yep.
that they feel like they're indebted to you, and then they'll actually listen to what you have to say.
Yeah, dude.
And that takes work. That takes work, man. It's not one conversation. It's most of the time 5 to 10
Right.
before they'll ever open up like that.
It's true.
Sometimes more than that. And so,
Dude, sometimes it takes years.
Sometimes it takes
of just
years.
friendship.
yeah. And so that is what we've been trying out. And it has just felt so much better. And man, I was talking with Sam and we really hit it on the head with this. I was talking about how I like met one of my friends, right? Like I was hanging out with him.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you know, I told him basically what I just said. And he was like, we were both like, dude, if we are, as believers, the big C, we are the body,
Mm-hmm.
then you brought like church to them.
Yeah. Right.
because you are the big
Dude,
C.
Exactly.
And I think that is what we are
Exactly.
trying to say.
Yes.
It may not be like it in its entirety, but you're a little piece of it. Like,
Yeah.
you're a little piece of it, and you can bring it to them.
Exactly, bro. Oh my gosh. Yeah, dude, you hit it on the nail. That's the whole idea. That's what it means to empower the believer. It's to feel like they don't have to, oh, if I can just get them to come to church, then maybe they'll hear God, then maybe something will happen. But no, you get to bring that to them because you are a part of that body. You carry that power inside of you. That's what we believe,
Yeah.
right? So if we believe that, then we should have no problem being able to just go unafraid and just be able to sit and hang out, love on, just be with a person that we might not even like very much. But
And
you're right, dude. You're right. And I will say too, it does work, like you were saying. Dude, there are still guys from the warehouse I worked at 2 years ago that, I think like every Friday, every Friday night, not every Friday night, but every once in a while, two of the guys there had like this little like tradition of going to this bar or whatever. And so they started inviting me. I was like, sure, I'll go. Like, why not? So I'll go hang out with them, and I would have like, a drink or two, whatever, and just get like chips and salsa. But it was crazy because just by sitting there and talking to them, like almost 9 times out of 10, like when like religious conversations would come up, like it was them that brought it up.
wow.
Yeah. Like we'd just be talking, and then I think like after that time they had known that I was a Christian, a believer, and which I guess it's not really, a lot of times people just ask me where I'm from, right? Or like what I did for school, and then like, oh, okay, so you're a believer. But yeah, every time it came to like a God conversation though, almost every time it was them that brought it up.
Wow.
And it was cool just kind of having those conversations. They never, to my knowledge, like they never really led to anything so far. Actually, no, that's that's wrong. One of the guys, he became a barber, and last summer I went and got a haircut from him before the wedding. And I forgot about this. I'm like sitting in the chair and he's cutting my hair, and he's telling me, he's like, yeah, man, I started talking to this girl, and we've been dating for like a couple months, whatever. And dude, I started going to church. Because I just started going, like, I don't know, man, like this whole God thing, the Bible, I'm digging it. I was like, dude, that's freaking
Let's
awesome,
go.
man. Like, what the heck? And he was one of the guys that I went to the bar with. And then another dude, he texted me this morning, actually. Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy because I never would have thought that even after leaving that job, I mean, dude, how many jobs have you had? Like
3, 4.
And how many, like,
5.
how often do you keep in touch with the people?
Not often.
Like, yeah, like the coworkers.
Not
after you
often.
leave, like, yeah. It was crazy because, like, those guys, I don't know, like, we just really connected pretty well at the job. And, like, we just talked all the time. And, but I think they could tell that I, like, actually cared about them. You know, like, genuinely was interested to hear their thoughts and, like, what they cared about and, like, their lives and everything. And they still hit me up, like, all the time, ask me how I'm doing, and, like,
Wow.
yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy. All it took is just listening to them, dude. I never had to ask them to church, or I never, like, condemned them for something stupid. I was just being their friend. It's that easy.
It really is that simple.
I think that is what the Bible talks about. I think that's what Jesus talks about when he talks about the salt. And he says, what happens to the salt when it loses its flavor? Like when he says, you're the salt of the earth, right? And when the salt loses its flavor, it's worthless. It's just thrown out and trampled upon. And so, because I think they say that they use salt for flavoring, which I guess we do now. But as a believer, as people who are to be the flavor, like we should be people that draw people in. Like people should enjoy being around us. They shouldn't feel like they're going to be judged. They shouldn't feel like they're going to be condemned or blamed or pointed fingers at. They should be, when they're around a believer, and that's how it was to be around Jesus. You know, like all these people were drawn to him. I think it should be the same for us. They should be able to, someone that's around a believer should feel like, oh my gosh, this guy actually really cares about me. Like, it feels good to be around this person. That's how it should feel.
It's really sad that that's not the case.
Yeah.
Like, what happened, man? Where all of these people we're talking to have had such bad experiences with people that call themselves believers. I mean, no one's perfect for sure. And
Right.
I want to, like, again, make a disclaimer. We're not telling you not to go to your local C. We're not telling you not to be a part of that community. We're a part of that community.
Yeah, we are now, still.
Yeah. As of right now, we are still actively a part of that community and enjoy it.
Yeah.
We're just simply having free thought and want to share that with other people and want to hear y'all's thoughts. We're not saying stop going. We're not saying it's bad. We're just talking. Like, we're just having an open conversation about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I do think there's, like we've talked about this before, I think there is huge benefit to having local Cs.
Yeah. And it's nice to have a building to come meet to.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's a great asset for believers. But in my opinion, I think it should really just be the starting line for your Christian faith. Like, just something to get you on your feet as a believer. I think local C's are great for that. Like, you have Sunday school sermons, right? You have worship. Like, you're taught how to do all these things. But if that's the extent of the faith,
Yes.
then
Right.
like your faith is going to be so shallow forever.
And unfulfilling.
Yeah. It's never truly going to be lived out. I feel like a lot of people are going to be mad at this. Maybe not. I know my parents will be upset.
It's wild that people get so upset when you just start to question things. Like, you can put all the disclaimers out there that you want, but that comment section knows no bounds. It knows no bounds.
That's the beauty of the internet.
Public discourse. Yeah.
No, I'm going to write a bad comment just because I feel like it.
These guys are idiots. What do they know? So what do you think the best move is? Because obviously, like we've talked about, like I don't think it's necessarily, obviously we don't want to just get rid of churches, No,
right? That's not the goal.
not at all.
At all.
Not even close.
Yeah, not even close. And I don't think I would want to discourage people from going to churches, right?
I just wish that for the people who were able to, there was more in-betweens. And what I mean by that is there were more places to go that were less threatening to people who have church hurt and to people who aren't a part of our faith yet, or they're interested or whatever.
Yeah.
I wish more people would have in-home, like I wish more people would invite others into their home. Like I think that just going to a coffee shop and having a one-on-one conversation with someone and being intentional is as simple as it has to be. Having a conversation at work, I say the water cooler because I'm thinking about the show The Office, but I don't know how many water coolers are in offices anymore.
Oh.
But just having like genuine interactions with people with no agenda, because people smell that. They smell it when you're hiding something, when you have an agenda, you're trying to you're bringing some BS. Like, people can sniff that out so fast.
Yeah.
So you might as well just be genuine.
Might as well.
You might as well. Like, not everyone has to have this dream that we have to go start a coffee shop and have it be a community and all this stuff. Like, you don't have to do that. It can just be as simple as go hang out with the people, like be intentional with the people you know are hurting.
Yeah.
And just listen. Ask intentional questions. Be curious. Just be a good person. Treat them how you'd want to be treated. And if you have the capacity to do more, great. Do more.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, I think I agree, dude. I think that even this whole Bible study thing we're starting up now, which that was out of nowhere. Oh yeah, we talked about that already,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah. I think that even doing something like that, where it's just a few dudes getting together, studying the Bible, hanging out. Like, to me, that's just as much church as any service or anything, like on a Sunday,
Yeah,
right? Like,
I agree. It's on the same. It should be on the same level.
exactly.
It should be on the
on the
same
same level.
plane.
Oh, yeah. I would even say this, dude. I think that something like this is on the same level.
I agree.
Like, all church is. I know I keep.
It's all right.
Yeah. I don't know how else to.
I don't either.
Okay, yeah. Okay. All it is an assembly of believers. That's it.
Yeah.
That, like, to its core, that's what the church is.
Yeah.
It's an assembly of believers.
And I think that's what we were saying with through these times where we're meeting at these buildings at different events, whether that's a young adult event or whether that's a Sunday service, Wednesday, whatever. Like, we've had these experiences where we're getting to spend time with people and meet people we've never met before. And we're like, oh, wow, having these great conversations. And then boom, it gets cut off because it's like, oh, we're using this building, so we got to have worship, we got to have a message. We got to get you guys out of here.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating. Let me say it this way. It's so nice when there's not that agenda. There's not a schedule.
Dude.
You can just let the Holy Spirit work in through the conversations. Let people bring up what's really going on. And then you end up talking about the Bible. You end up talking about Scripture. You end up you end up giving a little word to each other. And you leave like so encouraged. Like, I met a new person. Oh my God. And it's like, why is that not just as important as going and having worship and message? That's I think what we're pointing at. We're pushing back on that. Something like that.
Yeah.
Can we just get out of God's way? Like,
Can we just get out of God's way? I don't know. Can we?
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
It's hard for me. I'm in his way all the time.
I'm always in his way, man. Trying to get out. Yeah, that's real, dude. I was going to say something like 10 seconds ago.
I know, I totally cut you off.
No, I don't think you did. But
Well, we're not stopping until you remember, so it'll come to you.
yeah, maybe.
What you were saying right before,
What was I saying?
well, that's what I'm trying to remember what you were saying.
What were you saying?
I had just gone into the, we're having a good time meeting people at these events, and then we have to stop and go into a worship and message. And before that, we were talking about how people can.
What did I say before that?
You were talking about how, like, things like what we're doing here, getting together with a group of guys, hanging out with people is just as important as getting together for a service on Sunday.
Yeah. Maybe I said everything I was going to say.
Maybe you did.
Maybe. I thought I had something else to say. But I do have to say this, is that it has felt really, really good to not be so involved at the local C.
And that's crazy coming from you, because you are someone who like so selflessly gives of your time. Like sometimes to the point where I'm like, that's unhealthy. So for you to say that shows that you really put in some serious time and hours and got pretty burnt out.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Dude.
Well, I mean, yeah. I would just go through a cycle of overexerting myself and like saying yes to all these things to the point where I am burnt out. And then like, you know, I would pull back from everything. And then slowly again say yes to this, get involved in this, do this, and like just like, and I find myself again like overextended. And finally I was just like, dude, I gotta stop doing this.
Yeah.
Because it's just not good. It's not good for you. You're never gonna see like real growth as a person like that. And I feel like for me, like this past year, since I've served less, like dude, it has been freaking awesome, dude. I felt just so much more free, like as a believer.
Wow.
Because I feel like I can, dang, the light. It's alright. I feel like I can serve where I want to, like where I feel led to.
Like in your daily life.
Just like that, dude. Man, what a way to put it.
I have a way with words. No, but I've noticed that.
Yeah.
You seem healthier.
I feel healthier.
Like all around.
Yeah. Yeah. What's crazy though is that is so unbelievably common for people who get involved with their local Cs.
Yeah.
Especially I've noticed with small local Cs, because
Yeah.
they find out you can do one thing and like, oh, can you do this then? And then can you do this and that? Then you're serving in like, 4 or 5 different services.
And then you feel guilty when you have to pull back. You feel like it's you're in the wrong.
Yeah.
And again, it's literally a necessity for these local Cs to ask people to do that, because they can't operate otherwise because of this corporate model. That's what I'm saying. Is like, it's broken in that sense. It just, it eats up people. It's like a people machine. It eats them up and spits them out with no regard for their personal well-being. And it's like, it's not because they don't care about people. They do. They want people. That's why they started the local C, because they care about people. It's just simply the nature of this beast that we've created. We've looked at, what's corporate America doing? Oh, they're looking at quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, all about growth, 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 cash flow, growth. Great, let's build a system where that's all we care about. How many numbers can we get in our church? How many buildings can we build? How many people can we get in here? Let's not create metrics around depth of how they're growing. Let's create metrics around just growth. Who cares if it's transfer growth church to church? But as long as we're getting people in the door, that's what matters. And I'm being sarcastic, and I'm being a little satirical, like to make
man, that was good.
To make a point.
that was good.
That like we've copied corporate America. And it's really hurting us. It's hurting everyone, not just people that go into your local C and serve there, but the pastors themselves. They're what's the word? They're like tied down almost. They're like operating with one hand tied behind their back, ministry wise, because they have all these other responsibilities.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like it's super beneficial for anyone in a way, because like what you just said for the pastors, it's very taxing for the pastors and for I mean any leader or volunteer.
Yeah.
Which burns them out, can lead to church hurt, because if someone quits, they feel guilty, or they might be condemned or whatever. And then it also hurts the people who don't go, because then the church just looks worse and worse.
Yeah.
It gives them less and less of a reason to go.
Yeah, good point.
Do you hear that?
Yeah, it's back there.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've given them enough to chew on for the for the night. I'm uncontrollably shivering right now.
Seriously, dude?
Yeah.
Dude, here.
Thanks.
I'll put this right here, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I do want to say,
I think we're out of frame, probably. Maybe not.
oh, I
Maybe
mean,
not.
that's all right. I mean, who cares? I'm just kidding. I do, I feel bad. I don't want to, I do hate just complaining about something.
Me too. I want to be part of the solution.
Same. 'Cause it's easy to complain. And I do feel lame when I don't know, when I just sit around and talk bad about something
Me too.
like that. Because it doesn't help anything, really. But like we've talked about, there is a problem. There is a clear problem that needs to be identified and called out and dealt with. And I think that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to figure out a solution.
Yeah. And the first part of that is identifying the problem. I think that's that's what we're doing here, is we're trying to put words to the problem.
Right. And is what we're doing the solution? I don't know.
No, I don't know. Maybe.
But we're trying.
At least we're trying.
Yeah.
We might look back on this in a year or two and be like, man, we really missed the mark in that first episode. Or I don't know, but hopefully we'll look back and see, wow, we really have developed this idea.
Yeah. And you know what?
A lot better.
Yeah. I'm still going to be plugged in at my local scene.
We're still going to keep going.
Still going to keep going.
We're still going to keep pouring into people.
We love our pastors.
Yes.
We love the people we are involved with. Literally zero, like, animosity.
Zero.
Zero. It's just...
It's healthy to challenge ideas. It's healthy to
Yes.
challenge the status quo. That's how you get better.
Yes.
And if we build this whole crazy thing up and, you know, God makes it this whole thing, like, there's going to be someone that comes along in 20 years that's, like, going to emphasize a different part of what we're emphasizing.
Yeah.
And that's great because that's how it should be.
It's a pendulum.
Yeah.
It swings.
Yes. I welcome that
Same. Yeah.
because it's healthy. And no one's ever going to be perfect. No one's ever going to have the perfect system. It's impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Doesn't mean you don't try, but... Yeah, bro.
All right.
I'm...
Peace. We're done.
It's cold. Oh my gosh. Dang.